Hello, dear aspirants. Today is 28th March, and we are ready with must read articles for 28th March. I'm Akriti Kanchi, your mentor from Prepias, and I'm trying to help you read the newspaper in UPSC relevant manner, right? So I try to help you to find out news and see the pictures of it so that you can remember prelims, mains, and interview related things in more natural manner, right? So let's start with the front page. What has happened here? Trump levies 25% tariff on imported cars. Now, a lot of US allies are angry out of it. This comes under GS paper 2. Effect of policies and politics of developed country affecting India's interests also. So, what has happened? US President Donald Trump has levied 25% tariff on imported vehicles, expanding the global trade war. This issue is about global trade war, right? And prompting criticism, right? So, they come on top of duties already. So before this also there were a lot of duties imposed on Mexico, Canada and China on aluminium and steel goods, and now this is further upon it, right? So Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Canada and Germany, they are the major biggest suppliers of auto and cars to USA. So they will be badly affected. And European Commission President has criticized this, Canadian Prime Minister has criticized it, a lot of people have criticized it, including Japanese Prime Minister. Okay, let's shift to the next article. We are directly on the editorial page. It's a small article about history, more important from art and culture point of view, more from prelims point of view. So you can see this building, this ruins. This is right there in central Delhi near Karol Bagh. So what is this? This is called Bhuli Bhatiyari Ka Mahal. Bhuli Bhatiyari Ka Mahal means Palace of the Forgotten Women. Okay, so this shows Delhi's rich architecture. This was built in 1354 by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, Firoz Shah Tughlaq has contributed to a lot of architecture in Delhi as a hunting lodge in the Central Ridge Reserve Forest near Karol Bagh. Now it is ruins and it is used as something very some people think that there are a lot of haunted kind of things, but that is not appreciated because this is an art and culture thing which should be appreciated. It is a beautiful example of Tughlaq dynasty. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 1354. Next article, editorial page. Here this article we have mentioned how Twitter, now called X, is constantly complaining about the Sahyog portal, okay, which is being used to take down the content on Twitter, right? So this topic is backdoor censor, right? So this comes under GS paper 2, government policies and interventions for development in various fields, and issues arising out of this implementation. So there are some issues arising out of this. So Sahyog portal, this is Union Government Sahyog portal, against which Twitter has gone to Delhi High Court, right? So the portal, which has been conceptualized by the government to be a platform that will facilitate coordination among law enforcement agencies, social media platforms and telecom service providers to help in quicker takedown of unlawful content. But that is not nice, right? Like anything can be taken down. So it is not nice for online free speech, right? So section 79 clause 3 clause B provides exception to the protection of safe harbor protection to intermediaries, and with this they will lose the safe harbor protection. So it is not good for them also. That's why they want the government to follow section 69A, under which government cannot take any any strong actions without going through formal procedures. Like there are limited safeguards under 69A, under section 69A of the IT Act, which allows content blocking only on specific grounds such as national security and public order, and mandates procedural safeguards such as designated officers' approval, written justification, and independent review of such blocking requests. So it has to go through certain procedures. So it can't be easily done. So that's why 69A should be used. And if they will use Sahyog portal, it can be used by multiple government agencies like local government, state government, union government, and it can block. It have blocking powers, unlike the provisions in section 69A. So this thing can go against the Supreme Court's verdict in Shreya Singhal versus Union of India case, a very important case brought in 2015, which struck down Article 66A of IT Act as reasonable restriction, and it promoted online free speech in India, right? Shreya Singhal case versus Union of India, you can use it in your free speech, how courts are in favor of free speech, right? So you can use this this cases and this example. Let's move to the next article. Women unbound. So women in public places face a lot of harassment, which is not good, because then society doesn't want women to go out, right? So we want places to be safe for women. Women have the right to move freely in the world, right? So that is what article is talking about. This comes under GS paper 1, Indian society and its problems related to women, right? So when society says it wants to protect women, it does not strive to make public spaces safer. So it does. So what they do when they want to protect women, they seek to confine women to homes, right, to schools or places. They shouldn't go outside, just like here and there, right? So women must constantly consider that what time they're going in, if there are safety issues or not, which men don't face. Men can go at any time, anywhere, right? Those are the issues that women are facing, and women have the right to move, to live and move freely without fear, right? So Delhi High Court has set an example with a case where court upheld the conviction of a man who sexually harassed a woman on a public bus in 2015, calling it deeply concerning reality that harassment in public spaces persists despite decades of independence and tough laws. So after so many discussion laws, still women are facing this, right? Until a harassment-free environment is created, conversations about women's progress will remain hollow. Recently, Allahabad High Court, had had outrageously ruled inappropriate touching of a. So Supreme Court decision has stated that Allahabad High Court order, which had outrageously ruled inappropriate touching of a minor, did not amount to attempted rape, which is wrong, right? So if an adult is touching a minor, it should be that's a strict thing. It's a problem, right? It shouldn't be like nothing. So Supreme Court has stayed that order and called it totally insensitive and inhuman, and there should be a right interpretation of the law and not like this. So administrative bodies also should take part in that. How? By making sure that the states are well laid. There's light everywhere. Police are trained to handle cases of harassment in more sensitive manner, and all vacancies in law enforcement agencies are there. So there are more law enforcement agencies per persons in the per lakh population in the country, right? Let's move to the another article, the editorial page. US defense ties, India needs to keep its eyes open. GS paper 2, India-US bilateral relations. The writer is saying India should not blindly depend on India-US defense relations, which is going very good. Right now it is climbing ladders, and one by one it's rising on the steps, and now it has led to technology transfer from US to India. So he's quoting a latest, which we also discussed a few days back in newspaper, SIPRI report. What is SIPRI? Stockholm International Peace Research Institute report for 2020-24, which shows that India is still the second highest arms importer in the world after Ukraine, which is facing a war. So imagine how much how biggest importer we are. Though we have reduced our import by 9.3%, but the most expensive weapon system and more specialized kind of system are still important and is going to be important for many more years, right? We still don't have manufacturing for this kind of expensive system. IAF, Indian Air Force, has thrown its full weight behind indigenous fighter aircrafts, which are planned with American engines. So if we'll be working around these superpowers and their way of working, so India will not be able to come out of the dependency, right? This is what it is. They are saying India imports vitally needed aircraft and other equipment. Its eyes needs to be wide open to avoid a dependency that would negatively affect its strategic autonomy. So India has a strategic autonomy. If we'll be dependent on some other country for their technology in defense area, will not be able to exercise their strategic autonomy really well. Okay, let's move to the next article. Yeah, so directly this article, the flawed push for a third language. This comes under GS paper 2, issues related to education sector. So here, see, national education policy is a very progressive kind of education policy, but there are certain challenges and limitations that it can face. Like for 3 languages, there might not be sufficient resources, right? That's what the article is saying. So we'll take only that much amount from it, but it's quoting a lot of surveys that is showing India's educational standards. So first, there is a survey called PISA, Program for International Student Assessment, a global test which evaluates reading, math and science skills of a 15-year-old, conducted every 3 years by OECD. OECD is a group of countries, of developed countries, and development highlights India's struggle. In 2009, India ranked 73 out of 74, ahead only of Kyrgyzstan. Imagine, right? Since then, India has withdrawn from PISA and we are not even participating in that survey. Whereas Singapore, China, South Korea, Estonia, and Finland are topping the survey, right? Another survey, National Achievement Survey, conducted every 3 years since 2001, assesses learning outcomes in classes 3, 5, 8, and 10. And the survey of 2017 also found that only 48% of class 8 students could read a simple paragraph in their regional language or Hindi. Only 48%, which is very poor, right? And just 42% had a good grasp of grammar. That's really poor. And another report, the Acer report, famous Acer report that we all quote in our mains answers, even I have quoted that. So Acer conducted by NGO Pratham. Okay, now this is important from prelims fact point of view. Acer report is conducted by NGO Pratham, which assesses school enrollment and learning outcomes in rural India. Acer 2018 found that 27% of class 8th student couldn't read even a class 2 level text properly in their regional language or even in regional language. Forget English, right? So this is really poor, and many of India's school students are struggling with even their mother. So mostly even now, so the, students are not being able to good just at mother tongue and English. So third language, it's kind of can become really difficult for them. This article is saying, but so the other alternative, they are saying that more resources can be taken towards core subjects like maths, science, and emerging technologies like AI. Some best practices that is mentioned. China is already piloting AI in 184 schools, okay, including for 6-year-olds. Estonia, Canada, South Korea, and the UK are also integrating AI into secondary education. So you can give this example and conclusions in your education issues related answer. Okay, let's go to the next article. Now this is important from society point of view. GS paper 1 always asks about the impact of internet, social media on the mind of children and teenagers, right? So this movie is actually bringing out that. So you can quote this movie in your answer or even in your essay, because there's a lot of questions about internet and technology, right? So the dangers in adolescence and the cinema of radicalization, important from society point of view and also essay. Netflix Adolescence, crafted as both psychological thriller and cautionary tale, tracing the way online extremism. So online extremism is going on, seeps into impressionable minds of children, right? It explores the mechanics of radicalization and the unnerving ease with which a child can become a part of digital war against women. All right. So it is said that the most dangerous thing in the world is a bored young man, and now it is being said the second most dangerous thing is a bored young man with an internet connection, because they can see anything and can be influenced by any bad, theory or by any bad radicalization propaganda, right? So that is what is happening. A lonely teenager is trying to find solace in the internet, and what they are going through actually, a red pill ideology, himself watching hour-long rants from self-styled masculinity gurus who peddle a cocktail of misogyny, nihilism, fascism, and call themselves Sigma males, right? So what they do, they validate their insecurity, then offer a solution that involves total emotional detachment and the rejection of all women as either obstacles or rewards, right? So looking at women as an object is not a good thing for our society to progress, right? Let's go to the next article. And there's an article here. So House Standing Committee concerned over vacancies in nuclear and research projects. So several organizations like BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, which is responsible for nuclear energy in India, NPCIL, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, lot of the positions are lying vacant there, which is not good for India's research and development, right? This comes under GS paper 3, energy sector and its related issues. Nearly 3 in 5 posts of scientific personnel sanctioned at one of India's top institutes for basic research are lying vacant. A quarter of the sanctioned posts at India's key atomic energy research and nuclear power plants are vacant, right? And right now, India has brought in budget that it is committed to 20,000 crore this year for building small modular reactors. So who will be building it if we don't have the human resource to build it, right? So this data is coming from Parliamentary Standing Committee on Science, Technology and Environment, right? So we need to build this atomic, we will need to create this scientific manpower. Okay, next article here. Union government to help states procure pulses at MSP Agriculture Minister. So this comes under GS paper 3, procurement system, all that comes is there in our syllabus. So Union Agriculture Ministry has said that purchase of tuar dal in the major production producing states has gained momentum. In order to increase domestic production of pulses, encourage farmers and reduce dependence on imports. We are trying to encourage farmers to grow pulses. Okay, the government has approved procurement of tuar, urad and lentils under price support scheme at 100% of state production for the procurement year 2024-2025, right? So the PM Asha Yojana has been extended till 2025-26. Under this, purchase of pulses and oil seeds from farmers at MSP will be continued. This is a good thing for a country which needs protein and pulses of its own. Let's move to the last article of the day. Access to abortion, fetal viability and laws thereof, women are caught in the crossfire. So this comes under, these are laws. And about laws, questions do come in your prelims also. 4 or 5 statements can come, and whether they are true or false, we have to know, right? So this is also comes under GS paper 2, government policies and interventions in various sectors, and issues arising out of these, and can also be asked in prelims question, right? So what is the India's Act for abortion? So generally the gestation time for humans are 40 weeks, okay? And abortion is allowed in certain cases for which there is this act. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, which allows abortion to be conducted by one registered medical practitioner until 20 weeks. So until 20 weeks, one registered medical practitioner is required. Up to 24 weeks, from 20 to 24, 2 registered medical practitioners are required. And from 24 to 30 weeks, a medical board, a review from medical board should be given, right? So, and these medical boards are governed by strict laws. It's not working casually. It can only approve cases where the fetus has abnormalities that are incompatible with life, or it can, it is lethal for pregnant women, something like that. But even if it has some serious illness which can be medically managed a little bit also with available facilities, even if the life expectancy is limited, they will they will not recommend abortion there, right? They will let it. So sanctity of life outweighs the quality of life. Even if the life can be built a little bit and women's life can be saved, they'll not allow the abortion. They'll want the child to be delivered, right? So late term abortions are mostly in cases of assault and sexual rape cases, right? So only then it is allowed. So you should know about the abortion laws of India. Last article of the day. Inclusive research, bringing patients into the fold. So this comes under GS paper 2, issues related to health sector. So a different kind of research they're trying to do, which is public and patient involvement and engagement, and it's transforming how research is done. Traditionally, medical research has been top down. Scientists are researching, not taking inputs from people, but now this is changing. Okay, so generally this top down approach had led to studies that are scientifically rigorous but disconnected to real world issues. So now what they are trying to do, this PPI, public and patient involvement and engagement, challenges the status quo by inviting patients, caregivers, and the public to be active partners in the research process. So you should know about public and patient involvement and engagement, and you can also give it as a recommendation in health related questions in mains. Okay, that's it for 28th March. Thank you.